Howcola, tubers. This is Chief Dark Cloud, aka Pat Jordan, raining on your parade of life from the grain ghetto in Illinois. I was having an email conversation with Shah Imado, whose Lakota name translates to Bad Bear. He is from the Tetuan band of the Seven Council Fires Nation, a descendant of Crazy Horse, and is a spokesman for the hereditary chiefs and head men of the Lakota Nation. His given name is Emerson Elk, but I like to call him Bad Bear because I think it's cool. Many years ago, when Rebecca Carley and I had Bad Bear and some of the chiefs on her RBN radio show, I asked them to say their names in the Lakota language because the English versions and the white man names given to them are not their names. In the realm of words, I have watched the Lakota Nation attempt to parley with the government that is deaf. In honor, these intelligent men have attempted every strategy that are possible to pursue to resolve broken treaties. To my understanding, the use of words and reason with a hostile occupying force has not worked. In my recent conversation with Bad Bear over the situation at the Dakota Pipeline, I had said that it might be necessary to sue for peace. Because I have an associative mind and play with words all day, the idea of sue for peace came to mind as a great meme and a logo for a t-shirt. Later, when I had time to go looking for images of Lakota culture to link to the meme, I fell across this website. The information stunned me. Clint Richardson and I have structured our lives around words and their precise meaning. Ignorance is the key ingredient to slavery. This is a quote from the website. The Sioux Nation consists of 3 divisions: Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota. Lakota refer to themselves as Ikche Wichasha, meaning the real natural humans. This may give you some insight as to the foundation of Sioux symbols. Note, the term, quote, Sioux, isn't really a tribal name. This false identification of the Lakota came in error when the 18th century French fur traders asked the Ojibwa what kind of people lived to the west. They said, quote, Sioux, which in Ojibwa language means, quote, enemy, not a tribal name. The word, quote, Lakota actually means ally. If this is true, and I have no reason to doubt it until Bad Bear tells me this is not so, then this is one of the biggest white man lies going. I had always used the word Sioux with respect, even though I can't spell it without a spell check. I had no idea that it was a French double cross. Since Lakota is easy to say and is their language and is a superior word and description, I will use it from now on because I am practicing Ikche Wichasha, but I'm not sure if I can get it right on air. The Sioux Nation, being a, quote, nation of enemies, is the controllers laughing at us, all of us. I'm enraged. I will use this deception as a teaching device. I fell upon it when I was looking for images to represent the nation for use on t-shirts. If I had not been looking for something supposedly unrelated, I would not have uncovered this deception. Where does this leave us? Back to the need for purity in language and intent. Back to a notion that I have been trying to instill in everyone around me, that if you call a thing as it is, then all of the illusion built around it falls. Indian tribes were given reservations, but the land and people are administered by the Bureau of Indian Affairs as if they were ignorant children. wards of the state. These supposedly sovereign people are required to be vaccinated with no exemption. If we call vaccines biological weapons, then we see that this is not a medical or public health procedure, but a military weapons assault. If we call what we experience on this planet as a planetary military occupation, then what we see at the Dakota Pipeline, where the Army Corps of Engineers made a decree that the pipeline would go in, is just proof of that. Number one, the reservations never, quote, belonged to the Lakota since it was a grant. You can't possess anything if it was granted to you, because that implies that a grantor has possession of it. The once great Lakota Nation lost possession of their homeland through trickery and military assault. The United States Corporation then issued land patents. Nothing can be patented unless it is an invention. You can't patent a discovery. The New World was falsely claimed to have been discovered so as to fit into the Vatican objective of claiming everything for the papacy. If the land and people already existed, then it couldn't be discovered. It was already in extent and self-evident. Trickster word games. As to the patents, all patents are inventions. Inventions indeed. First steal the land, then parcel it out, then sell it to white rubes who think they own it when they never read their deed that calls them a tenant. Plus, war is a crime, so the land was stolen, so it is possession of stolen property. Number two, if the land doesn't belong to you, whether you are a Native American or a white man, then you have no say in what occurs on or around it. Pipeline's going in, isn't it? Number three, it has always been a military operation. The Army Corps of Engineers ordered the pipeline in. The SWAT teams dispersed the protesters. Military weapons were used, including aerosols going back to 2016 that Bad Bear reported to us had made people at the protest encampment sick. These are all belligerent acts of war. It is because of these simple facts, said the way they are, not spun for commercial consumption, that after all of the strategies that the Lakota have attempted in good faith to resolve this ongoing conflict, there seems to be only two options: to recognize past, current, and future hostilities and to sue for peace against the military occupiers. Isn't that the historical resolution to wars? Well, we have to step back to see that the trickster white man has rarely actually entered into peace treaties, even with their own kind, but the lawful principle is there. The only other thing to do is to follow what the word Lakota instructs us. If Sioux means enemy, then to sue, S-U-E, for peace against an enemy still makes sense only when it is explained to you. But the double meaning joke of the word S-I-O-U-X, meaning enemies for peace, still exists. But it leaves the toxic residue that no one should be identifying themselves as Sioux if it means enemy, because then you are labeling and calling yourself an enemy. Lakota means ally. That is precisely what has been missing all this time. The white man invaded and occupied the lands of the Native Americans, genocided the buffalo in an attempt to genocide the tribes, and when that didn't go well, they kept up with their already ongoing genocide of the people themselves. Where are the allies of the allies against this axis of evil? Americans are not. Americans are not allies, but they're also not Americans. That's in keeping with my calling things the way they are. Americans are transplants. They aren't from here. So other than the rapacious desire to keep what was stolen by trickery and military force, after benefiting from those actions, any honest and virtuous person living in North America would ally themselves with the Lakota and not the powers that turned us all into prisoners. Because after all, if you were honest and virtuous and looked around, then you would see that you too are living on a land that is not your own. Therefore, you are under military occupation as well. The inhabitants of North America have more in common with the Lakota than was or ever may be admitted to. But it is also clear to anyone that there is a military force at work here, and if you want to keep the tenancy that was given you, then you keep your eyes low and your mouth shut. I mean, just after I started working with the Lakota again, my internet connection has been broken, and my connection speed went down to anywhere from 7 to 14 kilobits a second. This may not mean much to those who average maybe 100 megabytes per second if you don't understand technology, but it is a clear message to me that they don't want me allied with the Lakota. But if you are a mere user of the internet, so you don't understand the difference between being on dial-up with a speed as low as they have in the country of India, that's not where our Indians came from, and you have never thought that your identity as a user of all of the goods and services of North America makes you no different than the Lakota, who are also seen as squatters on their own land that was taken from them by force, and using services that are miserly dealt out to them while billions of dollars have been made to disappear. Then what is it that you do understand? What is it that you do value? What is it that you direct your life towards? Floating down a river in a canoe with no paddle, with the sound of a waterfall in the distance? I choose to ally myself with my brothers and sisters in the Lakota Nation, but I am just one man. Perhaps in the fashion that other nations form coalitions for mutual protection, the Lakota should start talking with Putin for a mutual defense pact, so when the corporate controllers of North America break every treaty they've ever made with native peoples, there will be an ally that will back them up. Good luck with that. Putin is a cousin of Bush. It doesn't seem that the inhabitants of North America have the intelligence, integrity, or courage to back up the Lakota. Te epi kin ewaste, la empetu hokehe, Tashunka Witiko, 1877. Crazy Horse. After a life well lived, it's a good day to die.